Hello everyone, in this tutorial I will discuss the for statement of Java programming language. Basically, this is one of the 3 loop statements available for Java or the Java programming language. Basically, this is used to repeat statement or statements. I will also discuss here how to use the break and the continue within the loop statement. But before we begin our tutorial, please support the channel by clicking on the subscribe button and hit also the notification bell so that you will be notified with all the new videos that I'm going to upload in this channel. And so we have this for statement in Java. This is one of the 3 loop statements in Java programming language. So like I said, basically this is used to repeat or execute statement or statements. And we have this syntax here. Basically, we have 3 parameters here. One is initialization, then condition, and then the update. And then you will have here open curly bracket and the close curly bracket. Inside it will be your code block, meaning to say these are the statements or statement that will be executed repeatedly until the condition is met here. So what is this initialization right here? This means the initial value of a certain variable where you have to start somewhere. Let's say, for instance, you want to loop 3 times, and so you must start somewhere. Let's say you start at 1 and you'll end up at 3. And then we have the update here. The update here will update your initial value so that you will meet the condition. Okay, without update, you can never reach the condition here, right? Basically, the condition here is to tell when to continue and when to stop. All right, so it's something like that. So in the initial stage, in the initial execution of this for statement, it will execute first 1 and 2. What are these 1 and 2? Initialization and condition. So, but first it will initialize and then it will test the condition. All right. When this condition is true, it will go inside the code block, execute all the statements there, and it will return to the loop statement. All right. So for the second time, until the end of the loop, it will execute 2 and 3 only. Right? So it's going to be like that. However, it will execute first the update. So it will update first. All right. So for example, it will increase by 1 the initial value, or it will increase by 2 the initial value. So it will execute first the update, and then it will test now the condition. Based on the update, it will test now the condition. If it is true, the condition here is true, it will execute again the code block inside your curly bracket, open and close here. So the code block here. When the statement here is false, it will get out of the block. So that means it will go somewhere here. All right. So on the third loop, again the same. It will execute 2 and 3. However, 3 first. It will update first, and then it will test the condition. So it goes like that until it will end, until the condition will become false. So as long as this is true again, it will go down, execute the code blocks here, and once this is false, it will get out of the loop. So it will execute if you have more statements right after the closing curly bracket of the for statement. So that's how it works. All right, so let's begin with the coding. So for instance, here I have let's say int x, initially it is 0. All right, then let's say for x, let's say equal 0, right? X less than, or let's say x1, x less than equal 3. For instance, I just wanted to print the word hello world, this one here, or the words hello world. I'm just going to print this 3 times. So all I can do is something like this. X is equal to 1, x less than equal, let's say 3, x plus plus. There you go. And then my open curly bracket, and immediately NetBeans will provide the ending curly bracket. Now, as you can see, I have here initial value of 1. All right. So, however, in line 15 here, I have introduced x as int. Okay. The value here, your initial value here will always be int data type. It's not possible for double or float data type. So, it will always be integer type. So, x is equal to 1, but as you notice here, I introduced x is equal to 0. If you don't like this one, it is also possible not to include this anymore, but we can say here int x is equal to 1. So we can say something like that, or we can put something like that. And then I'm just going to say system.out.println, and I'm going to say here hello world. Oops, sorry about that. There you go. So I'm going to test it if it is going to run the way we want it to be. So I'm going to press F6, and there you go. We have hello world here. It was printed, or the word hello world was printed 3 times. And so as you can see, it printed 3 times. And so how that happened? Again, we have an initial value of x is equal to 1. So that's 1. So initial entry to this loop, then the value of x is 1. So like I said, initial value, or the initial step, or the initial loop will execute first the initialization and the condition, but initialization first. Okay, so it is 1, and then it will test x less than equal 3. That will be true, and so it will go to the code block here. We have only one statement, right? However, you can put many statements here. You can place here many statements. All right, so you can place here loop statement again, or conditional statement using switch or if. All right, so it's like that. So as you can see, it will execute now this one. So that is true. So it will execute the statements here inside the code block. So that's the first loop. And then it will reach 21. And because it is true, the condition here is true, so it will come back again in line 18. So like I said a while ago, it will execute this time 2 and 3. So the condition and the update. All right, but the update first. So here we have here x++, which simply means it will increase the x by 1. So previously it was 1. Now, because we have here x++, that would mean plus 1. So the value of x now is 2, because previously it is 1. All right, so as you can see here. And so it will now test this one. It will go now to the condition. It was incremented by 1, and so the value of x is now 2. So 2 less than equal 3, that will be true. And so it will execute again here. That is our second hello world now. And then because it went inside, so it will come back again in line 18. Again, it will execute x++ first, the update, and then after that, the condition. So the value of x right now is now 3, because previously it is 2. So plus 1, that would be 3. And so 3 less than equal 3, that will be true. And so it will print hello world. And so that is our third hello world. And then because it went here inside the code block, and so it will return again. As long as this is true, it will go down and it will come back again in our loop. So once again, it will increase by 1. Previously it was 3. and now it is now 4 because it incremented by 1. And then it will go to the condition right here. So x less than equal 3, that will be false because x is now 4, less than equal 3, that will be false, and immediately it will get out of the loop. That means it will execute now line 22. That means that's the end of the loop. If you have more statements here in line 22, that will be executed, or those will be executed if you have more statements here. So basically, that's how it works. All right. So just remember that, again, initial entry to the loop, it will execute first this initialization and then followed by condition. But initialization first and then condition. And then when it returned back for the second time in the loop until the end of the loop, it will execute condition and update, but update first. So it will update first and then the condition. If this is true, it will go down to the code block and then it will return again, line 18. However, if this is false, immediately it will get out of the loop. That's the end of the loop. And so it will go to line 22 here in this example. Okay, so that is very easy to understand, no? So let's have another example. Let's say, for instance, okay, I'm going to remove this. Okay, so let's have another one. This time I'm going to print numbers 1 to 5. Okay, numbers 1 to 5. So, well, I'm just going to copy this, paste it there. Alright, so, alright, I'm just going to fix this. There you go. So I'm just going to say system.out.println, and I'm just going to say x semicolon. But I want to print up to 5, so I'm going to change that to 5 until less than equal to 5. Alright, so let's try to run now. Let's see if it is going to run. Alright, as expected, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were printed. Alright, so I started at 1. Alright, so again, you can always start at anywhere, no? So for instance, I want to start at 0. There you go. So until 5. So that means from 0 to 5. There you go. You can always start somewhere. So for instance, I want to loop 3 times, but I want to start at 2. So 2, 3, 4. So that, I think that will be 4. So 2, 3, 4. That means 3 times it will loop. Alright, so there you go. So 2, 3, 4. So you can start somewhere else. Alright, so it's not always 1, it's not always 0. So that's how it works. No? So for instance, let's have another one. This time I'm going to use the brake. For instance, brake. How do we use the brake? The brake is just like a car. When you hit your brake, it will stop. Right? When you press on the pedal brake or brake pedal, your car will stop. So it's something like that. So if I say here brake, and so immediately it will get out of the loop by going to line 22. So when it execute this and then it execute this, that means it will go immediately to line 22. And so therefore, if I run now, there you go, it will only print 2. No? So initial value here is 2. Alright, so 2 less than equal 4, that will be true. And so it will execute this one, it will print 2. But it reaches here, but when it reaches here, it means break. I mean, it will execute the break. So that means it will get out of the loop and it will go to line 22. So that's the reason why it did not print 3 and 4. Right? So break. So you can use the break to immediately get out of the loop or terminate the loop. No need to come back to the loop. Immediately it will break out of the loop. So you can use that. Okay, so for instance, another example will be if I would like to, when it reaches 3, for instance, I'm going to say break. There you go. You see? So when it reaches 3, it will break. So it will not come back again in line 18. So that means 4 will not be printed, right? So it's going to be like that. So that's the meaning, or that's the use of the break. Immediately it gets out of the loop. No need to execute the other parts of the statement. That means if you have more statements here, for instance here, I'm going to say, I'm going to print 2 times or twice the number. But when it reaches 3, it will not execute anymore. So let's see. There you go. So you see, it printed twice the X, 1 here and 1 here. So we have here 2 and 2. Alright, so when it returned back, it will print 3. But because X is equal to 3, it will break. So as you can see, it went immediately to line 24. It did not execute anymore line 22. So that's how we use the break. That's how it works. All right. But what about the continue? Let's have the continue here. The continue is used to immediately return, all right, to the loop or continue the loop. For instance, I would like to print only 2 and 4 without the 3. All right. So what are we going to do? So, well, we have to use the continue. So something like this. Well, I don't need that anymore, for instance. So if it is 3, I would like you to continue it without printing the number. So something like this. So if I say run now, there you go. So it printed 2 and 4 without the 3. Because if it is 3, it will just continue because we have the continue statement here. So what happens is that when this is encountered, it will immediately go to 18. Okay, so that is what will happen. However, if it is not 3, so it will just execute 21. Okay, so that is what will happen. However, again, if it is 3, what will happen? It will execute continue. That means it will go immediately to 18. It will not execute anymore 21. All right, so because it will go immediately to 18. And so 3 will not be printed. And so the output will be 2 and 4 only. All right, so that's how we use the for statement, the break, and the continue. Other loop statements of the Java language, you can still use the break and continue there. All right, that will be my next tutorial, to use the while statement and the do while statement. So I hope this is very helpful to you. I hope you have learned in this tutorial video. And that's it for this tutorial, and I'll see you on my next one.